In July of 1953, the best golfer on the planet stood on the first tee of a qualifying round in Scotland. Not the Open Championship, the qualifier, the thing club pros and hopefuls play to get into the Open. He had already won the Masters that spring, by 5. He had already won the US Open that summer, by 6. He was the most feared player alive, and they made him qualify like everybody else because in 1953 everybody qualified. No exemptions, not even for Ben Hogan. And here's the part that makes it a story. He went over once in his entire life. He qualified, he played, he won, and he sailed home and never came back. One Open, one win, and Scotland never forgot him. To understand what Carnoustie meant, you have to know who was getting off that boat. Ben Hogan is 40 years old in 1953. He is not a natural. He is the opposite of a natural. He's a small man from Fort Worth, Texas, 140 pounds, who fought a hook so bad it nearly ran him out of professional golf and beat it by hitting more practice balls than any human being had ever hit. They said he dug his swing out of the dirt. That's his own phrase. The secret, he said, is in the dirt. By 1948, he's the best player in the world. US Open champion, PGA champion, a machine. And then, in February of 1949, on a foggy 2-lane road in West Texas, a Greyhound bus pulls out to pass a truck and hits his Cadillac head-on. Hogan sees it coming. In the last half-second, he throws himself across the seat to shield his wife, Valerie. That reflex saves his life. The steering column spears the driver's seat he's no longer sitting in. Fractured pelvis, broken collarbone, broken ankle, broken ribs. Then the blood clots come and the doctors cut him open and tie off the biggest vein in his body to keep a clot from reaching his heart. The question was never when he'd play golf again. The question was whether he'd walk. 16 months later, he wins the US Open at Merion, on legs wrapped in bandages, 36 holes on the final day, a 1-iron into the 18th green that becomes the most famous photograph in golf. By 1953, the legs are still ruined. He plays maybe 6 tournaments a year. He wins most of them. That spring, he wins the Masters with the lowest score in the tournament's history. In June, he wins the US Open at Oakmont by 6. He has won everything in America, twice. There is exactly one thing left. Hogan had never played the Open Championship. Almost no American did in those years, and the reasons were simple. The boat took 5 days. The Open paid £500 to the winner. The trip cost more than first prize. And the whole thing ran on a different ball, a different turf, a different sport, played along the ground instead of through the air. For years, people begged him to go. Writers, players. The argument was always the same. They will not put you next to Jones and Varden and Hagen until you've won it over there. In 1953, the calendar wouldn't even let him try for a Grand Slam. The PGA Championship and the Open overlapped that year. It was one or the other. He picked the boat. And because he's Ben Hogan, he doesn't just show up. He sails over 2 weeks early. He sets up camp at Panmure, a quiet links next door to Carnoustie, and he goes to work like a man studying for the bar exam. The British ball is smaller than the American ball, 1.62 inches instead of 1.68, 6/100ths of an inch. Hogan spends days learning what those 6/100ths do in a 40-mile-an-hour wind. The ground is baked and fast, and a shot that lands on the green doesn't stay on the green. So he learns to land it 30 yards short and let Scotland finish the job. He walks the course backwards. He charts every bunker, Locals start showing up at Panmure just to stand behind him and watch him hit balls in the rain. They'd heard about the crash. They'd heard about Merion. They came to see if the stories were true. The Open in 1953 has no exemptions. None. The reigning Masters champion, the reigning U.S. Open champion, the winner of 9 major championships, fills out his entry form and plays 36 holes of qualifying like a Dundee Club pro with a borrowed bag. Think about what that means. The greatest player alive could have missed the tournament. He didn't make it dramatic. He qualified with room to spare, and the Scots, who had been reading about this cold, silent little American for years, packed the ropes to look at him. He didn't wave. He didn't chat. He walked fast, smoked, stared at the ground, hit the shot, walked on. The galleries loved him for it. This was a golfing country that had buried its sons in 2 wars and didn't trust charm. Precision, though precision they trusted. Somewhere that week, a Scottish voice gave him the name that followed him the rest of his life. The Wee Iceman. Round 1, a 73. He putts like a man reading a foreign language. The greens are slow and shaggy compared to home, and he can't believe how far he has to hit every putt. Round 2, 71. He's 2 off the lead and he's figured something out. He doesn't need the putter, he'll just hit it closer. Rounds 3 and 4 are both played on Friday. 36 holes in one day, on those legs, and he plays them sick. He spent half the week fighting the flu, bad enough that a doctor sees him that night. Withdrawal never comes up. This is a man who won a U.S. Open 16 months after a bus hit him. Friday morning, round 3, he does something that Carnoustie still talks about. The 6th hole is a long par 5, with an out-of-bounds fence running down the left and a nest of bunkers in the middle of the fairway. The safe play is right, into the narrow side. The brave play is the ribbon of grass between the bunkers and the fence, maybe 20 yards wide, where the second shot opens up. Hogan takes the ribbon, flushes it. In the afternoon round, same hole, same wind, everything on the line. He takes it again. 2 swings all day between a fence and the sand, both of them perfect. They've called that stretch of fairway Hogan's Alley ever since, not the riders, the town. 70 in the morning ties him for the lead, and in the afternoon, exhausted, feverish, 40 years old with a body older than that, Ben Hogan plays the finest round of the week, a 68, the lowest round anyone had ever shot in a championship at Carnoustie. Every round of his Open lower than the one before, 73, 71, 70, 68. He wins by 4. New York gives him a ticker tape parade down Broadway. The only golfer who'd ever gotten one before was Bobby Jones. 3 majors in one season. The Masters, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship. Nobody had ever done it. 70 years later, nobody has done it since. They couldn't even give the 4th one a chance. The calendar had already decided. And here's the ending I can't get over. He never went back. Not to defend. Not for the anniversaries. Not once. The Open Championship of Ben Hogan's life is 1 week long. He came, he qualified, he took the course apart a round at a time, and he sailed home. Carnoustie kept the name on the 6th hole anyway. 1 visit, it was enough. The story we tell about Ben Hogan is the crash and the comeback, and fair enough. There's never been another one like it. But if you want the whole man in a single week, it's this one. An aging, broken-bodied perfectionist crosses an ocean to play a course he's never seen, in weather he hates, with a ball he's never used, in a tournament that made him qualify for the privilege, and every single day he gets better. 73, 71, 70, 68. Roll it back with us next time.